If you've watched any of the reviews for Redemption Reapers recently, you've probably been turned off toward playing it. Many of these reviews have been abysmal, but many of them have also gotten things blatantly wrong about the game. Some still have missed the mark on what type of game Redemption Reapers is and what the developers are trying to create, instead thinking it would be another modern Fire Emblem where you can put the game on easy and play it with your eyes closed. Redemption Reapers is more akin to Dark Souls the TRPG than Waifu Warriors the Battle Simulator. And I think that the difficulty is a big thing that turns a lot of people away, but will also be the thing that draws in the hardcore strategy gamer. So I am going to counter these poor reviews and shine a proper light on the game, while still being honest about some of its shortcomings. Let's start with the biggest gripe I've seen from the reviews: the difficulty. So Redemption Reapers sees you taking control of a small squad of the Ashen Hawks Mercenary Brigade, who have a mysterious and checkered past, but have become the last hope in a battle against the orc-like Mort army. Small squad being the operative word there. You are given 5 characters to use in battle, and only 5. We'll talk more about that in a bit, but the idea here is squad-based tactics. Think something like XCOM. This small team size, in addition to the relative squishiness of most of your units and limited healing capability, makes you particularly vulnerable, but this was the intent. This fact forces you to use solid, squad-based medieval guerrilla warfare by drawing in smaller groups of enemies and quickly taking them out with overwhelming, lightning precision. This is the way the game is meant to be played. This game is about building a team, not one uber-powerful unit that you can dominate every map with. Once you realize this, the difficulty is much more manageable. Redemption Reapers gameplay is built around the follow-up attack system where allies adjacent to an attacked enemy can perform follow-up attacks, greatly increasing the overall damage done. Then, if your attacking unit still has movement left, they can move up and position themselves for the next follow-up attack. Using this system, I've been able to easily take out groups of 4 enemies at once. The game is difficult if you don't do this. It will punish you for sending a unit out alone, just like the real world would. Redemption Reapers really makes you think about positioning and using each of your units to their strength.
I must finish this.
The next gripe I've seen, which closely relates to the difficulty, is the weapon durability. I know many people take issue with this kind of system in games, but I generally like these systems. It gives you a challenge in resource management and makes you consider when to use a certain weapon or when you should hold it in reserve. The system present here isn't half as bad as the reviews have made it out to be though. Throughout my 7 hours into the game so far, I've really had no major issue with my weapon's durability. The game fairly often rewards you with new weapons and chests, which can replace weapons whose durability is getting low. The game also rewards you with valuables, which you can sell at the merchant. You can then use those funds to upgrade and repair your favorite weapons. In addition, the game hands out upgrade materials pretty often too, meaning if you're in a pinch, you can sell them too to keep your weapons up to snuff. For those who enjoy resource management and having to sacrifice in one area to build up in another, this game certainly delivers. Another gripe some reviewers have mentioned is that there's no way to grind experience or items. But this is simply not true. Having said this, they must have played the game for no more than a couple of hours before doing their review, because about 3 or 4 hours in, once you complete Chapter 7, you unlock skirmish battles where you can revisit previously cleared maps for XP and materials. You can even grab the chests that you missed on these maps the first time through. In addition, similar to the way Triangle Strategy did the training battles, the enemies stay at the map's original level. This means that you can easily go back and farm these maps for upgrade materials to upgrade weapons or to sell to repair your weapons. Since these enemies will be well below your level, you can easily defeat them even with broken weapons. So yes, getting to this point may be difficult for some players, but once you arrive here, the game becomes much more manageable due to the ability to grind and also the improvements in your skill to play the game. Also, I should mention that because the enemy level is low in older skirmishes, you will get diminishing returns in XP the higher your level goes. This then forces you at some point to continue on with the main story to unlock more higher level skirmish battles. Though if you really wanted to, you could totally milk the XP basically forever. Now let's move back to playable character count. While each character can be specialized in different ways based on which skills you decide to put their skill points into, they are locked into their respective roles. Sarah is your dagger-wielding evasion rogue, Glenn your sword-wielding leader, Luff your spear fighter, Karin your bow-wielding healer, and Urs the tank. This lack of choice and customization can be a bummer for some people, and I get that. But Redemption Reapers never promised to be about character customization. It was portrayed as a story-driven experience about a specific group of fighters doing their best to survive in a dying, hopeless world. On this point, it has done very well. Obviously, I have not completed the game at this point, so I can't say that the story will come to a satisfactory conclusion, or that the game will ultimately deliver on this point. But I at least think that it's doing a great job for an indie title. Putting aside other gripes for a moment though, I want to take just a minute to talk about something I noticed and liked about the aesthetics of Redemption Reapers. It seems as if the developers took a few cues from the Dark Souls series, particularly in the upgrade material and accessory art, as well as even the title screen. I mean, doesn't this dark minimalist screen give you Dark Souls vibes? Tell me it doesn't. The environments also remind me of a top-down view of the Undead Burg, and even opening chests, for some reason, gives me a similar feeling to opening chests in the Dark Souls series. These similarities seem intentional, but maybe that's just my inner Dark Souls fanboy talking. So I've given my defense of the game, which can be summed up like this. Redemption Reapers is a solid, squad-based tactical strategy game with a fun Dark Souls-like difficulty idea that rewards you for careful planning and punishes you for foolish mistakes. But what things could the game do better on? Most of my gripes, and really they're small, honestly, are about the presentation. During cutscenes, the characters seem just a little too stiff. Their mouths seem to barely move when they speak, and the animation seems underdone. The voice acting is certainly not bad, but it isn't particularly awesome either. The scripting and storytelling are up and down. There are moments where they create a lot of intrigue about what happened to the Hawks in the past, but then there are the generic, forgettable moments. Up to this point, there hasn't been a lot of character development, but it appears that about 7 hours in, this is changing. Though I'll see as I get farther into the story. Finally, during battles, there are these really cool animations for attacks and follow-up attacks, but if you're next to a wall, the game does a poor job of removing it during the animation, sometimes blocking your view. As I said though, none of these are game breakers for me, as the reason I play tactical RPGs is for the tactical combat, not necessarily the flash and flare or story. So as long as the story is cohesive and creates some intrigue and interesting points, that's good enough for me. Now we come to the price. On this point, I will agree with most reviewers, at least in part. At $50 US, Redemption Reapers is priced high. If you are a hardcore strategy fan or have a particular affinity for medieval apocalyptic settings, then I think you'll ultimately be okay with spending the money. Otherwise, I would recommend waiting for a sale. Somewhere around $30 sounds right to me. Though, unfortunately, with the next generation of AAA titles coming out at $70, it's only a matter of time before even smaller titles begin to raise their prices, and this title may be an early sign of that. If you were thinking of writing Redemption Reapers off after seeing the first set of reviews, I hope I was able to get you to reconsider. I will at least do a full review on Redemption Reapers once I've completed the game, and will probably have a few other guides and or tips videos on it as well. So if you're still not sure about it yet, stay tuned to the channel so you can get the full picture before making a decision. Please remember to like the video if you enjoyed it, or agree with me, or disagree, and leave a comment about what you think about the game. If you'd like to see some Tactics Ogre content, you can watch this video here, as I have covered that game extensively. As always, Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and keep on gaming.